Greetings, salutations. Alright, so this is the third video that we're doing, focusing on spelling, spelling, phonics. Before I get into the video, roll call. Raise your hand if you're intelligent. Raise your hand if you're wise. Raise your hand if you're beautiful. Raise your hand if you're a blessed child of God. Raise your hand if you have a special purpose that begins and ends with your love for God, and you will be spending the rest of your life figuring it out. Sometimes you may make mistakes. Sometimes you may have really, really good, sometimes you may have very wondrous victories. But in it all, know that it's all part of the process of you finding you. My beautiful chocolate drop, Miasha, I love you so much, baby. And to other people who, everyone in the YouTube universe or whatever who decides to watch this video, prayerfully you'll find something that is meaningful and substantive that can either help you be a better parent, maybe a better teacher, maybe, help your child be a better student, help a student be a better student, whatever it is. Hopefully there's something valuable you're able to take away. There's some valuable takeaways in the video. Okay, so this video is on phonics. And so in the last two videos, we looked at the first video, we did a basic review of phonemic awareness, just looking at letter sounds and blends and how they kind of work together to create multisyllabic words. Then we looked at our lead words in terms of how to find a word if you're struggling to spell it. How do you find it in the dictionary? And then this particular video, because finding the word, being able to spell it is one thing, but you have to be able to understand the context. And a lot of times that'll also help you figure out, like if you're looking for definitions, let's say if you're reading and you're like, oh, this is an interesting word. I don't know what it means anymore. Sometimes I don't know what it means. Sometimes finding the definition will help you figure out what it means, but then it can also help you understand the context. And context, so we use something called context clues, and it's basically how the word appears in a sentence. What else are they talking about? But once you figure out, okay, I know what the word is, but I don't know what that means. Then what you want to do is get your dictionary, look it up, and then you want to figure out, sometimes there may be more than one definition, and I went over that in the first video. If there's more than one definition, what you need to be able to do at that point is being able to figure out which definition is appropriate depending on how it appears in the sentence and what else they're talking about. So we're going to look at that, and then we're going to look at parts of speech, because that will help you also, because sometimes one definition may be a noun, another definition may be the same word as a verb. So you have to be able to figure out, in that sentence, is somebody doing something? Is it describing something? Or is it a person, place, or thing? And you have to be able to read it, and you have to be able to infer or kind of figure out what the author's purpose is for using that particular word, because the words we choose add emphasis, they add color, and they add flavor to the stories that we tell. So that's why it's important. So we're going to look at definitions and parts of speech, because I think the two are correlated, or they work together. They're friends. They work together, okay? So that's important. So let's look at our words, our spelling words, and we're going to spell them out before I get into the actual thing that I'm going to talk about. How are you? You good? Okay. All right, so let's see. Bridge is our first word. B-R-I-D-G-E. Bridge. B-R-I-D-G-E. Bridge. Our second word. Gravity. G-R-A-V-I-T-Y. Gravity. Gravity. G-R-A-V-I-T-Y. Gravity. Hungry. H-U-N-G-R-Y. Hungry. H-U-N-G-R-Y. Hungry. Next word. Eclipse. E-C-L-I-P-S-E. Eclipse. E-C-L-I-P-S-E. Eclipse. Secret. Secret. S-E-C-R-E-T. Secret. S-E-C-R-E-T. Secret. Next word. Glance. 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 Next word. Laundry. 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 Next word. Attract. A-T-T-R-A-C-T. Attract. A-T-T-R-A-C-T. Attract. Switch. Switch. S-W-I-T-C-H. Switch. S-W-I-T-C-H. Switch. S-W-I-T-C-H. Switch. Next word. Trouble. Last word. Trouble. T-R-O-U-B-L-E. Trouble. T-R-O-U-B-L-E. Trouble. Okay, so those are our 10 words. So now we've spelled them out. Now let's figure out what part of speech each one is. Now, a bridge is a noun. Okay, it can be a game, or it can also function as a verb too. It can be a noun or a verb. If you can say, I bridged the two pieces together, you were doing a thing. If you're talking about we crossed the bridge or we played bridge, it's a noun. Okay? Gravity. Gravity is a noun. Hungry is an adjective. Eclipse is a verb or a noun. It can be a noun or a verb because you can say the eclipse can be a noun or a verb because you can say it eclipsed, or you can say there was an eclipse. And an eclipse is also a brand of a car, so it's a noun. Or an eclipse is a phenomenon that happens. It's a solar phenomenon. It's a lunar phenomenon, where the sun is, where the sun, actually, I think the sun covers the moon, or is the moon cover the sun? Solar eclipse. The sun covers the moon. Let me look. And let me make sure I just told you the right thing, because you know that mommy sometimes has difficulty remembering. The partial or total blocking of light from one celestial object as it passes behind or through the shadow of another celestial object. In a solar eclipse, the moon comes between the sun and the earth. In a lunar eclipse, the moon enters the earth's shadow. So it's in a solar eclipse, the moon comes between the sun and the earth, and then in a lunar eclipse, the moon enters the earth's shadow. So the moon goes some kind of way. The moon goes behind the earth, and we're not able to see it. And so it's a moment of darkness. I saw one when I was younger, and I still can't remember. I probably did not explain that completely properly. We will probably have to get a book on it and read it together and kind of figure it out so I can explain it a bit more clearly, so I can explain to you what happens when the eclipse actually happens. But if we're looking at it here, it's listed as a noun. An eclipse is a noun. But if you can say it eclipses, which is it says here to cause an eclipse of when a moon to obscure shadow, okay, to fill. If it eclipsed or eclipse, it's it's how you use it. You would be using it as a verb as opposed to it being a noun because you're describing an action. Okay, so a noun is a thing, but it's depending on how you use it in a sentence. It can also function like a verb. And yeah, that's something we talked about quite a few times because there are a number of words that you can do that with. Secret, secret. A secret is a noun. Okay, so a secret can be something you tell. A secret is also a brand of deodorant. Um, glance, glance, at a glance. A glance is a quick look. That is a noun. Or it can be a verb. I glanced over or I looked over. So it can be a noun or a verb, depending on how it's used. And so that's why we use our context clues. Okay? Laundry. Laundry. Okay, laundry is a noun. Attract. Attract is a verb. Switch can be a verb or it can be a noun. If your grandmother said, go get a switch off the tree, or you turn off the light switch, or use the light switch to turn off the light, it's a noun. But if you say, I switched the pair of shoes, it's a verb. So switch can be both a noun and a verb. Trouble. You can say, man, that boy is trouble. In that sense, it's a noun. There's an old gospel hymn where he said, God is going to trouble the waters. So in that sense, it's being used as a verb because it's an action. It's something that's being done. It's a verb. So it's a noun or a verb. So as you see, sometimes, or that boy is, so, or he's going to, he causes a lot of trouble. Or, so I'm sorry, when I use the sentence, that boy is trouble, that is an adjective because you're describing a part of his character, saying that he's not a good person. So that's an adjective. So trouble can be a noun, verb, or an adjective. If you're saying he caused trouble, that is a noun. If you're saying he is trouble, that's an adjective. If it's a verb, if you said my spirit is troubled, so it can be a noun, verb, or adjective, just depending on the context and how it's used. And again, context clues means you read the sentence and you kind of figure out what's going on. Remember, every sentence has a subject and a predicate. A subject and a predicate. The subject tells you what the sentence is about, right? Or who or what the sentence is about. The predicate will tell you what the subject is doing, okay? And for that reason, you have to kind of look and say, okay, are they saying something? Are they telling me that somebody's doing something? Are they describing something? All of those are context clues that can help you kind of work together to kind of figure out what's happening in a sentence. Then once you do that, you get your dictionary. And let's say, for example, let's look at something, a simpler word, bridge. And we looked at that earlier, in a previous video. So if other people kind of peeped in, that's how my daughter and I do. My daughter knows I don't know everything. We all know that we don't know everything. And if there's something I come across that I'm uncomfortable with, we usually just get a book and read about it. So that way she can have a more reliable source. And that takes the pressure off of me to feel like I have to know the answers to everything because I don't. Okay, so bridge. Bridge has two definitions. Bridge can mean a structure providing a way across a gap or obstacle, such as a river, railroad, or gorge, or it can be any of several card games, usually four players, derived from whist or bid whist. Okay, and it didn't even say bridge the gap, which is another way you can use it. And if it said, okay, I bridged the gap, and in that sense, it does say it down here. It says to build a bridge over, bridge a river, to cross by, or as if by a bridge. So you can. His career bridged. So in that sense, it is a verb, but it's not a verb ordinarily. It's the way it's used in that context. It becomes a verb. In Niaja, we've talked about this, quite a lot because we will be reading stuff and you're like, well, mommy, it is a noun, but depending on how we use it, English can be so tricky. Depending on how we use it, we can change the function or the part of speech. We can make a noun function like a verb, or sometimes we can make a verb function like a noun. Play is a verb. I'm going to go outside and play. But if I say, let's do dramatic play, even though I'm describing an action, dramatic play as an activity is a noun. So it's all in how we use it. It's all in how, and so you have to be able to use your context clues to kind of figure out what's going on in this sentence so that you can comprehend or understand what's being told to you. So it's just always, it's just that's just a critical part. So again, when we look up our definitions, again, if you have figured out how to spell the word, then you use your lead words, then you find it, and then if you find more than one definition, what you want to do, like with the word bridge, there's two definitions. Read both definitions, okay? And then rethink the word, reread the sentence, and see which one would make most sense based on the definitions that you read. Like, if they're not talking about cards, it's like I was driving in the car as Ramona drove over the bridge and she entered into California. She realized she was far from home. Now, is that talking about a card game? No. So you know it wouldn't be the second definition. It'll have to be the first definition where it said a structure providing a way across a gap or obstacle such as a river, railroad, or gorge. Okay, so that's why it's important to be able to understand any measure of the word is innuendo or kind of basically context. Okay, what are they actually saying? What are they trying to tell me about? What are they describing? Okay, so if they're telling a story, why is that detail being shared? Okay, what does that add to the story? Or, how does that give me more information? Because if somebody is giving you, telling you a story or giving you information, every detail counts. There's a reason why they're telling you that particular thing. So it's not necessarily like some details are kind of frivolous or non-essential or not necessarily important, right? Some details are not important. But for the most part, if when they're writing a story, the the author is trying to build for you a picture in your mind because sometimes you may not see a picture, especially now because you're in the fourth grade, so you're looking at chapter books. So they give you the details so you can draw the picture for yourself in your mind. So it's important to be aware of that. Um, so that's it for now. Those are This video is a little bit shorter than the other ones. Um, I would like to be able to work through the activity with you, but it really matters the dictionary that you're using because the lead words change, everything's everything changes. So what I'm doing is just giving you the instructions, and I hope that your dad, or if there's someone else that's watching, your parents or whoever is doing this activity with you would take the spelling words and go back with you through your dictionary and help you to be able to identify them and look at the difference between the definitions, if there is one, help you identify the part of speech. So nouns, you'll see a letter N right after the phonetic spelling of the word. If it's a verb, you'll see a letter B, and if it's an adjective, you'll see a letter A. Okay? So again, a noun is a person, place, or thing. A verb is something that you do. An adjective is something that describes. Okay? So having said that, I love and appreciate you. I genuinely hope that this message was in some way a blessing to you, and that you feel like a better student or you feel better prepared to help your child be a better student or whatever reason you're reading it. But for my baby, for my daughter, I'm definitely hoping she feels like she's a better student. So I hope that this is helpful. Um, if, yeah, so I mean, I hope to hear from you soon. I love you, Niaja. I love you with all of my heart. And I hope that you're having a beautiful, beautiful day. And that's it. All right. So peace, blessings, and bye-bye.